We're back.
We are back.
We are
back.
Episode 15. Eric and Tony Show.
Yeah.
Episode 15.
Okay.
This is the Eric and Tony Show.
Okay.
You know me, I'm Tony. This is my friend Eric.
I'm meeting Eric.
Yeah,
Hey,
we're
what's
meeting
up?
for the first time.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was like really late. First
Hey.
impressions are the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, but you did say, you're working, you're trying to work and got the writer's strike going on. So, I commend you on that. That's,
It is,
you gotta keep doing it,
Tell the people what you do and why you're late.
Well, you have to do an introduction, Tony.
It's my friend Steve.
I'm a fine ass thief. Shit.
Fatimah Taliah. Fatimah. I'm sorry. I don't know how this.
Some people want to say that.
I always 50-50 it. I always go the wrong way.
I grew up with the Fatimah all my life.
Yeah.
My full name.
Am I turning red right now? Am I
really-
matching my shirt because I screwed your name up?
That's why I let him do the intro. I was
You
like,
go ahead and introduce her.
Tony, go ahead. Put your size 13 in your mouth.
He threw you under the bus.
Yeah, he did. But comic, actor, writer.
Yeah.
Okay. Union.
No, I'm not in a
Hopeful?
WGA.
Union
but-
hopeful. Hopeful.
I'm in the union as an actor.
Yeah.
But as a writer, I never worked in like television. I work
Okay.
more in like the content for TV.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of the BTS, behind the scenes for TV shows. Like if you follow Stranger Things' Instagram, I could possibly be the person running that or have shot all the things that the talent is doing behind the scenes to promote the show on social media.
Didn't know that.
I believe I saw you perform at Third Wheel.
Okay.
So I've seen you before.
Okay.
You've seen her on a shit ton of shows. We've done like 1,000 shows over the last couple of years together and stuff. And
that was the most recent one though.
Yeah.
I think I've
Okay.
seen, but yeah.
But we were weathering the storm during the pandemic, and we were doing the COVID shows.
Yes.
Outdoors and stuff.
Yeah.
Indoors and that weed show that we had.
Oh, the weed show too?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
That was during
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah.
Wow.
That was, yeah.
We was outside.
Those are some of the best
We was
shows. It
outside.
was like when people were just hungry to see comedy again
I
and stuff like that. And
know.
like there was just, I don't know. There was a
Different time.
Yeah,
It was the
yeah.
best time actually.
Yeah.
I feel like I hate that we're not on lockdown anymore.
No.
Do you remember when I don't know if you had that in like your area, like where people would clap and like at noon at every day for
frontline workers?
No, what were people that like were working like nurses and stuff were
What they call
called
frontline workers?
No, they're like something else. They were like
What were they clapping for?
for like nurses and people that were like essential workers.
Essential workers.
Essential workers. So
Okay.
like in my neighborhood, I live like right over by like Runyon, and they would all like for like 15 minutes, everyone would just stop and just start clapping. Yay! We appreciate.
How did
you."
they know?
Huh?
They came on Runyon and Scrubs?
No. They would just like
Everybody's go on their balcony to start clapping for like people
they would
that
just
are
start
on.
clapping,
Which is funny because it's
like
like
essential workers for like grocery store workers, people that like still have to work, whatever. And then like I remember like, oh, that's like so nice that people are doing that and stuff. And then it was like, all right, whatever, fuck them. Now it's over. Like,
I know,
like,
and that's why I missed it.
Yeah. That was like
But
all
also,
the
if you
nice
think
parts
about
about it. It was like, oh, like people
What's
finally
it though?
like
Because that's like those people's lunch break and 15 minutes of people clapping. It's like, all right, I fucking work it now. 15 minutes of my break is you fucking like ruining it by clapping and shit. Like I get it.
Yeah.
I'm at work. I'm the only one doing it and stuff.
Yeah. Those were good times, man.
They were.
Yeah, that's
They
gonna
were
be like the
good times.
craziest part. Like when we're like older and be like, man, I remember the pandemic. Like
So
we were all
dope.
like stuck inside, and like that was like the craziest shit for like. I remember going to the grocery store, going to like a Food for Less, and seeing a couple that was in full on hazmat suits, the full yellow, the thing over the mask, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
We didn't
They
know,
probably got
though,
it
yeah.
10 minutes after that.
Yeah.
Those were the people that got it. Those were the people that
Gets
got
caught
it.
in their suit. Yeah.
It was the people that were overdoing it. They were getting it.
Just
It was
toilet
like
paper
we
and-
were fucking outside. I didn't get
Yeah.
it until probably they were making fun of it, the Omarion version.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got it like late. I never got it the whole pandemic.
Yeah, I don't know. I got it like once, and I forget how I get it. It was some like kind of weird thing. I don't know if I traveled or something, but it wasn't like the grocery store or any of that kind of shit. But I remember just waiting in line to go in the grocery store and all that kind of shit. You just like, do you remember? It was just so fucking weird. There's so much trauma from that no one's ever actually processed.
Yeah, the vaccine.
True.
That was like a huge thing when that came out. And then like, which one do you get? Because there was like the Johnson and Johnson.
You got the Johnson.
Yeah, that's what I got. I was like,
you did?
I got the
bootleg
yeah,
version. Yeah.
How did you get the Johnson and Johnson?
I sat and like I got it in my car and like when I forget where it was. It was like in a parking lot somewhere.
Everybody was getting it in the back alley or something.
Yeah. And then I forget where it was exactly, but there was like a long ass line, and there's like all these military people, and they like, you know, stabbed you while you're in your car.
Right.
You did like the shot and stuff. But it
In
was
your
like
car, really?
Yeah, like I didn't
That
get out.
Which is crazy because like they
whole
made us
protocol.
kind of sit for like 15 minutes to make sure you didn't fucking wig out or something.
Yeah, they did that too.
Oh,
But
yeah,
like you just
yeah.
sat in your car and did that.
But you probably got the earlier one.
Yeah, I got like the
Because Johnson & Johnson was first
Got
on the
canceled.
map.
Yeah. It was
I
like
feel like Pfizer had to sit
Yeah.
and wait to see if he
Yeah.
would like turn into a zombie.
I fired it. Yeah. What'd you do? What'd you get?
I did Pfizer.
What was the third one?
Moderna or something like that.
Yeah. That one also seems suspect too.
I mean, I only did the first one. After that, I kind of like.
I didn't do
Didn't.
I didn't do any boosters or anything like that.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
I mean, it was shitty because you couldn't go anywhere. Restaurants. Remember how restaurants were like you had to show your vax card?
Yeah.
Like the clubs were all like you.
I already
couldn't come in.
forgot about that. I already forgot that you had, and I work at.
I still have it in my phone.
Yeah,
saved
me
in
too.
the wallet.
Yeah.
Like you had to show that before you came into the restaurant.
Yeah, if you
which was
The Comedy
ridiculous.
Store was like one of the first clubs that was like big on like you're not coming in without the vax card and
because
stuff.
they all got it. That was like
Yeah.
one of the first comedy clubs where like the entire club.
There's people that
got
quit
it.
working there because
Yeah.
of that shit. That just
It was-
like
yeah,
it's a divide.
because they never had any outdoor shit like the Improv and like
Yeah.
I think Laugh Factory did it too. But
Did you do any
Crazy times.
outdoor like shows at the Improv?
you know what? That was my claim to fame.
Yeah.
I feel like staying here and everybody left.
Yeah.
And there were all these outdoor shows, and like the Improv was doing outdoor shows. It was like they were really doing shit at the Pan Pacific Park, and like you started doing shows with like celebrity comics that wanted to get out. So
Right.
like people were seeing that I was actually funny,
Yeah.
and that helped me get on like bigger shows. So I think that's like how now I get bigger shows, or how I'm like in at the Improv, because I feel like before they were overlooking me.
Yeah.
Because it was the same faces, which
Of course.
we're now back to. I mean, I get
Still, but you have
squeezed
more
in,
of a
but-
foothold in that because of that situation, though.
Yeah,
It's like-
I think that helped me for staying. You know, that's kind of how I feel now. Like everyone's running again. It feels like pandemic.
Yeah.
All over again. Everybody's running to Austin.
Are you
Yeah.
from California?
No, I'm from Chicago originally.
Oh, Midwest. All right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wisconsin. Yeah. All
I just
right.
went back and did shows there for like 2 weeks. It was cool, but I feel like, you know, here it's a completely different hustle. So I was very I was contemplating like, should I go back while we're in the middle of this and save money? But I was like, your entire life will change as far as like, and then there, you know, not saying anything about that comedy work, because it's great and they have way more rooms and they have way more places to work out. I just feel like what I built here and how it looks being on shows with Craig Robinson and Whitney Cummings, that's going to help you be able to go out as a headliner much more.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I got lucky to have 2 weeks at a club or out there, you know.
Yeah.
Do you ever see yourself like moving back to Chicago?
I thought about it heavy.
Really?
In the last couple days.
Really?
Just because, you know, I just being there, because I was only supposed to be there for a week. And then after being there, I was like, this energy is so chill. It's just like not as chaotic as I feel like LA's energy is. You feel it immediately coming back.
Yeah.
Right.
That it has like a different air. Like, and I was telling people, like my friend gave me her pass to go to her gym. And like the weird part was like everyone was so nice. And everyone in the gym, like people are in their real body. Like here, everyone's on their phone. They're filming themselves.
Yeah.
Every guy is into themselves.
Yeah.
Like every girl is wearing. I was a weirdo to them. I was the alien. I had on a matching workout suit and shit.
Yeah.
Like I came cute. Everyone was like, whatever. I'm just wearing sweats.
Yeah.
Also, men talk to me. They don't want to date each other there. So it's like
That's hilarious.
great.
That's
like when I was in the
Yeah.
gym, when they actually looked at me, I was like, are they okay? But I was like, wait, they're straight.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right.
but the energy was more pleasant.
How long have you been out here for?
11 years.
Okay, so you've been out here. You're officially an Angelino. You know,
Yeah, but something. I mean, I feel like I don't know. I think where I'm at in my life now, I do want more stability and more relaxation. I feel like LA, you're never gonna get that.
I think you're close to getting over that hump. It's just
Maybe.
that- I mean, but also too, don't you feel like the struggle kind of makes you work harder? Do you know what I'm saying?
That's
feel
what
like
I was saying.
I do my best in like chaos when my like schedule is completely swamped and I'm literally just going from like one lily pad to the next, just trying to stay above water. That's when I do my best work. The pandemic was weird for me because I was like upside down with all this time on my hands. I'm like, what do I do? And like,
That's where
luckily I
social
had, like,
media
a-
came from for me.
Yeah.
I was like, I got nowhere to go. I was like, I just making a ton of videos, and that's how I got
Mhm.
in the world of social media.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I was thinking. I was like, if you move back to Chicago, that hustle is not going to be the same.
It's going to slow you down.
Because a lot of my friends that are there that are comics that have been doing it longer than me, they don't work as hard as me. They have husbands and kids, and they're like, sometimes when I feel like going to do comedy, I do comedy.
Yeah.
But they don't, they don't have that same grind mentality that we have from living here. So.
I think that just the opportunity out here is just so much larger than anything that the Midwest can offer.
True. Other than the money.
As far like the money.
I feel like here in LA, you're not gonna make no money as a comic.
Well, that's where the road comes in now.
Yeah.
And that's why like you're doing the best thing where you can like, you get a name for yourself as an established LA comic and you go do the smaller markets and stuff. And like, that is like the thing. And if like,
it's like credibility, like
exactly.
gives you like, you're in like you're like the like a small fish in a big pond full of like just killers, right?
Yeah.
And so coming from that, going to like the Midwest, now you're the killer in like a small pond, and they're gonna be like, oh shit, like she was in LA for 11 years doing stand up with Whitney Cummings, like all these people, and they're gonna be like, okay, like but again, like being here, it's like what is that, like steel sharpens steel or whatever kind of thing. Like it just makes you a better artist or better at your craft because you're surrounded by greater people or people that are successful. And I think for as far as like the opportunity with money, like there is probably a better chance of having something more stable, but not necessarily. But then also out here, you have that opportunity to be stable or more than stable. Yeah. Whereas like there, it's like, nah, you don't.
You have
like,
a ceiling.
You just have more options.
It is a ceiling.
Yeah. You have options out here, and that I think that's what this whole like West Coast, California in general, why so many people come here, whether you're in entertainment or not. You have options for the mountains, the desert, the ocean, the snow, like everything. There's just options. Like whenever I go back home, people are like, oh, hey, Hollywood, hey, California, all this stuff. And they're like, like trashing me, or like I went and ordered an omelet and asked for avocado, and the lady had no idea
what avocado was.
No, she knew what avocado was, but she had no idea that I was like visiting from California and I was here.
You'd like to eat an avocado?
She was like, oh, Hollywood. And I was like, did you guys say something to her? And she's like, no, like she just like was talking shit to me. I was like, I guess you can't order avocado in Wisconsin without like sounding like a Hollywood person or something. I'm like,
yo, they were doing that to me too.
Yeah.
Because everywhere I went to eat, it was like, why is everything like here you have, I don't eat like real burgers.
Yeah.
So back home in Chicago, I didn't see one Impossible Burger.
Yeah.
Everything was a real burger. Yeah. Everything was a sausage. Everything was some kind of beef. Like everywhere I went.
How much cheese do you want on that?
What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
It was nowhere to eat, and everywhere I went, I was always picky to where the bartenders or the servers would be like, "Where are you from?" Like I was an alien. Like, why are you eating this way?
Yeah. You're like accustomed to options that you're offered, and you don't necessarily have to indulge in all the options that you have out here, but you have the option, and that's like the biggest takeaway. Where they're like, what's the biggest difference? And like he and I are from a small town in Wisconsin, and I'm like, you don't have the options that you get out here. Like whether it be, you're going to have more options of encountering good people, more options of bad people. You're going to have more options of like, you can still go to Walmart if you want to like save money, but you can also spend like $80,000 on a handbag or, like
go to Erewhon to do
you
your
have those options that you didn't even know were options that existed. Whereas like back home, it's like, you got a Walmart, you got a, like your grocery store, and you got the one cinema in the town or whatever. It's like the very limited options. So, and then
that was what scared me. I was like, I like this energy, but I know eventually I'm not gonna want to.
No, you don't want to do that. I did that. I lived out here for 2 years, and I moved back to Wisconsin for like about a year. And the second I crossed the state line, I was like, "Oh no, I made a terrible mistake." And it just like it happened to be like winter, so it was like the harshest winters of the Katrina years. So it was 2005. Wow. And I was both he and I were working outdoor construction and shit. And I was like, moved back to work in a fucking deep freezer. And then too, I had just got into acting. Like I had moved out here as a carpenter, stumbled into acting, and then moved back. And I was like, I never really fucking followed through with that. And I was like, I'm gonna be that dude who's like 20 years down the road, I'm just like, what if I would have done that and given another chance and shit like that? And like, not that you would do that because you're already like an established comic and shit, but like just trying to replicate what the kind of grind and hustle you have out here. I think you'd start to kind of taper off going back to the Midwest.
I mean, what people don't know, for me, I've always had a problem with trying to keep a consistent job since I've lived here. Because like for me, it's just like what I work in to coexist with stand up. We do like freelance contract work.
Yeah.
So you'll get you'll get a social media job, but that'll last 2 months. And then after that, you got to grind to find the next one and the next one. And I feel like that has always been like a headache for me.
Yeah.
because like I make some money and stand up, but the rent in LA is next level. And I live alone. I no longer have a roommate because after pandemic, I was like, hell no more of this. So like now that was my only concern of like moving, because it was just like, I'm dealing with this shit all the time. And like now we're in this writing strike, and I just like, the weird shit is I just got my first TV show. Literally. Right before pandemic, I just got my first TV show and I just got my first animated series, and I can't even promote them. And like they're all stopped. And like now I've been like,
but they're on hold though, right? I mean, they're like,
we finished, we filmed, but there are shows that are now with this all going on. We're all like, well, will we get a season 3? Will we get another? Like, so now I'm in this situation where I'm back out here looking for a job and trying to figure that shit out.
But that's cool. That's part of the story though, because hopefully, fingers crossed, everything resumes,
right?
Gets picked up. You get a better cut on residuals on the back end and stuff, because
be nice.
That's like the biggest like thing with like just the gross misappropriation as far as like revenue from film and TV, and the higher powers to like the actual like talent or the people behind the scenes, or even the fucking makeup artists and shit.
Yeah,
like, no one's really getting anything broken off. It's like people working several jobs and shit, all that just for the sake of like somebody getting a fucking another, and all the C-level execs making fucking more money, getting bigger yachts and shit.
I know.
Say you move back home, and then like a year goes by and they fix all this, stuff with the writer's strike, and then you're back home and they're like, hey, guess what? We got another season going on, but because you're not here anymore, we filled your spot, and everyone's getting paid way more. I got
it. That will happen, but because you self-tape from everywhere now.
True.
You never go in for anything. I mean, so but I will say I did recently just get an audition. Some stuff is cleared from SAG if it's like overseas or whatever, but you have to. It's so many rules going on.
Yeah,
it's a lot of stuff also going on behind the scenes that are still happening. Like Hollywood ain't like really stopped.
Is it like a sketchy overseas thing? Because like,
no, it's like a this particular show is like Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, okay,
so it's they tell stories. It could be true or fake kind of a thing. And then they shoot it here in English, but they put subtitles over it. I don't know.
So wait, how does that work? They're going to film here in LA, but it's for a foreign company?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's a show that I've heard of before, but I don't watch. I think I forget, like something like Trilogies or something. I don't know. I was surprised I got an audition in the middle of the strike.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming the management company I'm with is not like, I mean, I'm sure it's legit. I'm sure they don't. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
a
lot of the stuff what you were saying though, like even for the voiceover job I got, it was from a pilot that I did 2 years prior, and they were like, oh, we liked your character on there, and like it was with Adam Carolla.
Okay.
And he was like, we liked your character, we want you to play it again, but as an animated person. But I had to be in LA because they were like, we're starting tomorrow.
Okay.
So like that kind of stuff does happen. So if I was in Chicago and I had another one of those situations.
So you filmed an animated thing though?
I did.
That's like amazing. That's like,
I don't know what's going on with it because of everything happened literally, I swear, like the next month.
Okay.
It was like me, Adam Carolla, Roseanne. I can't think of who else was in a couple other comics, and we recorded.
Yeah.
And then a month later, the strike hit, and so like they were like, I don't know if it's gonna roll out until 2024 now.
So you can't promote any of it or do anything with it.
I mean, my show that I'm on with Craig Robinson comes out next week on Thursday.
Was that Killing It?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. But I can't post anything about it.
Congrats.
You can't. Why can't you post anything about it?
That's the SAG rules. We're not like, they sent us an email probably like 2-3 weeks ago and was like, oh, the trailer's out. Here it is, but don't post it on your page and don't talk about it.
Why? That doesn't make any sense.
Because not allowed.
I guess like the theory behind that is because you're not trying to promote people that are, because it's going to the company, like, right?
I guess. Okay.
Like Craig was talking about that. Like we can't even like have them bring us up to that. Like he does it in a sly kind of way, but yeah. So I guess when it comes on Thursday, I can film it on my story, but I can't put it on my page.
That is so weird.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That was my first big thing because like I play a very important character on the show. Like I play Craig Robinson's brother's girlfriend.
Yeah.
So I'm on it consistently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, great, awesome.
So you can't the whole first season already.
I'm not on the first season. I'm on this new one coming.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the stuff that happens on first season rolls into what I'm gonna walk into. But yeah, you know who plays his brother. So I don't know if you remember what the first season's character was like.
No, because I thought this is the first season.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's what Craig always says. He's like, no one really knows the show. And I'm like, because there's a million streaming networks.
For real.
No one knows any show.
Yeah. That's the problem is everything's kind of just, it's so inundated because like everybody, and then that's the thing too, when you had like Paramount Plus and Peacock and fucking Hulu and Amazon and everything's got a streaming
I can't keep up.
No.
Mm-mm. But yeah, we're not allowed. And I'm just like, dang, that sucks.
So wait, who's your boyfriend on the show?
Real Battle.
Oh, no shit. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So it was fun working together because we know each other already.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
How have you seen like social media and like using that to kind of like progress your careers in acting, comedy, anything like that? Even though you can't promote this right now the specific shows that you're on, like how have you kind of like implemented social media, I guess, into kind of generating more noise for yourself online? Because I was on your page and you have like a bunch of skits and stuff and funny stuff. Like,
thank you.
Like I think that is like I love that stuff. Like all those like where the artist has their own creative idea and then they're able to like make it. Like you don't need like all crazy stuff. Like you can do it very like simply and it can connect with so many people. It's really easy to kind of get that out there and you're doing that on your page.
Thank you. I don't feel like I do it enough because a lot of like over the week when I was in Chicago, those social media stars be selling out the clubs. Now they might not can hold a torch with us because we actually do comedy.
Yeah.
But their consistency is like they're posting 3 and 4 times a day.
Yeah.
And like I had time like that during pandemic, but now I'm like, I gotta find a job and like do other stuff. So it's hard. I mean, I think I do well. Like I go viral pretty often on TikTok, but I'm not as consistent as like people that are on there all day.
Yeah.
But a lot of these influencers, you get to know them and you're like, they live at their parents' house.
Yeah. Also a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah.
So they don't have to worry about paying for shit.
I need a new ring for my selfie videos.
A lot of them do. Like I worked at Fuse Network for a while. Mm-hmm. And I shot all the behind the scenes stuff there. And I worked with all the like major influencers. And I would talk to them like, you know, about what their life was like. And a lot of them live at home or they live, you know, with some family member or something while they're pursuing this. Like a lot of them aren't really making money like that.
Yeah.
It's more popularity. Like later on they do as the brands reach out to them, but they're not making stacks like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's like either you're making like a shit ton of money or you're making no money, but you're getting a lot of notoriety.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like one or the other. And like very rarely probably like, you know.
That's why a lot of them decide to start doing stand-up. Because you're not making that much money online. You just become popular and then now you can sell tickets.
Yeah, that's true. Because I have seen that on like the Laugh Factory. I've seen like this kid that I forget his name, but I'm like, he would come up in my feed just like doing like kind of skit stuff. And I'm like, and then it was like his picture there. I'm like, oh, he's doing stand-up now? You know, I was like, okay. I'm like,
but that's how they make money.
Yeah, maybe that's the
there was
new,
a kid,
like,
I was at the Haha like last week, and there was a kid who's like, he had like fucking like, I don't know how many million followers or some shit, but like, well, I don't want to say that. They had like kind of coerced him doing a spot, and he came there and it was a sold out show. It was like 200 people there. It's like most I've ever seen the Haha packed out, and he fucking pussed out. And he's like, ooh, I don't want to do it. Cause like, it was like, again, legit certified comics fucking crushing it. And it was like his turn. He's like, nah, I'm good. Like, it's cause again too, I think that's more of like you had that separation between your like your viral self and then actually the live response of people being like, I ain't feeling this, dude. You're funny on a video when it's fucking like, can be edited and shot several times, but like being like a present fucking comic, that's an art right there.
It is an art. Yeah. I opened for a lot of social media stars. I did it just recently on that week that I was there, and it's a very interesting turn of events.
You want to see me do my sketch live?
I mean, it's just, you either have it or you don't when it comes to like stand up. It is a art that I don't think can be taught. And to tell a story by yourself on a stage and keep people engaged, it takes a very special skill. Yeah. And I think a lot of people think that they can do that, but you also have to have a really strong personality to do that. Like, I don't know, I watch a lot of them sell out rooms and everyone comes and then the crowd's like, what did we just pay for?
Yeah. Right.
And like, nothing against them. I mean, we also had to learn to like grow, but like a lot of them that I meet, I'll be like, oh, how long have you been doing stand-up? They'll be like, oh, 2 years. I'm like, you're headlining?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, what? Yeah. Like, it took me damn near 5-6 years or maybe 8 to really want to headline and do something for real. Cause like, I don't know if you go back and look at old videos of yourself and be like, what?
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny because I think that at first when you're like a new comic, you're always trying to get as much time as possible right out of the gate. And then you realize that like there's a point of diminishing returns where like you can't stretch so much. Like you don't have the deep pockets of jokes yet. Yeah. And that in itself takes time. And then you find more of your voice and your presence on stage and just kind of like the whole package and shit. But like when you're kind of launched into this spot where it's like, hey, you got a huge following, you're viral, like let's give you a fucking hour, and then you're like, oh, and they're gonna say yes because everyone's excited to get that. But like, I don't know if what I would have done if someone gave me an hour 2 years into comedy. Like,
I mean, I'll even say a mistake that I made. I mean, I wouldn't even call it a mistake. It was just I learned a lot from the experience. During pandemic, I shot a 30-minute special.
Yeah,
and even doing that, I was like, what have you done? This is harder than what you thought. And then also it was like in the middle of the pandemic, there's nowhere to really work out in front of real people consistently. Yeah. You know, so I did it. And then I learned a lot from watching it and seeing, like I grew a lot from the process of it. But like if people see that, they'll probably be like, dang, she's not that funny versus what they see who I am now. Yeah. But like, you know, I mean, I'm not hating on what they do. Sometimes you got to jump.
Did you when you shot that 30 minutes? Did you like dead that entire act? Are you still working in? Is that still part of like if you were going to film another half an hour, would that roll in some of those jokes in a better polished version?
Yeah, I do now. Yeah, they've grown tremendously since then. I could definitely go back and probably do something with that, but I still keep that same type of brand. I mean, I didn't think it was going to turn out to be the way that it was. Weird. I had momentum, and then my brother also works in the industry, and him and I were bored during pandemic, and he's like, we should make a pandemic special. We should name it something. It's pandemic-y. And we did, and we shot it in my friend's backyard, and my Instagram fans supported. They came through, and everybody tested and everything. We filmed all of that as a documentary.
Nice.
And Comedy Dynamics bought it. We were like, what?
That's fucking
like
awesome.
That was not expected. They actually came to the show just because I forgot that they were on my mailing list from whatever that MailChimp.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like sent it to everyone, and they came, and it was a time where no one had shit to do. So they came, and afterwards they were like, yeah, well, we want content, and like we like the idea, the concept of what you're talking about. And
you have like the coolest pandemic experience ever. It's like, yeah, so there I was, just fucking, doing fucking dope ass shows, getting some footings in the fucking clubs,
a time.
Shooting specials, like, selling them. Like
it was wild. We fronted everything. Me and my brother put our pandemic money together, and we bought the chairs, and we got a porta potty, and we had somebody with a thermometer in the front, and we had guest list, and we had DJs, and we had fake bartenders with masks, and first show we had cleanup people. We had we filmed all of it, and we talked about how it all started. And my special is basically called Nice to Meet Me, which was what I learned about myself through pandemic. So yeah, I didn't think it was going to turn out to be that. But then when it did, I was like, no, this is not what I want. It's the new, like, as my first come out, because every time I watch it, I cringe. I'm like, no.
I think that's a good thing to have. I think like you should be able to look at yourself and not be like, yeah, fucking nailed it. You know what I mean? Because there's always no joke is really
watching
ever
any kind of art form of yourself is always like, I have like the hardest time doing that too with like music. I mean, and stuff.
Now I feel like I grew so much from that special.
Yeah.
Because before that, I hated watching myself. I don't know if other comics, I like hated watching any tape because I knew I was going to criticize myself, and I didn't even want to go through that with myself. But I had to for the special.
Yeah.
Because we had to go through editing, and I had to go through all of this. I had to watch every bit of me, and every day I was like, I am over me. I literally hate me.
Right. You're like, if I hate me, how's
everyone else is gonna hate me? So it's like it was a horrible, but I had help.
What have I done?
Man, literally, there were some videos or clips that I called Comedy Dynamics and was like, take it down, take it down now. I hate it, like it, but it was an experience that made me so much better. And I think over time, after that rolled out, I think that also really helped me because we packaged it well, whether or not it was my best work. We packaged the shit out of it, like I came up with all my shoe concepts. Like I took pictures with wine bottles all over the floor, and I put my problems on them as labels. So I put student loans and can't find a job and man troubles and and we created a thing, but it does well as the album. It gets a lot of spins on Sirius Radio. So
that's fucking awesome.
Sweet.
We did something. There you go.
So,
Thank you.
The process of you getting into like the mindset for your special or your 30 minutes, right? Was it just again like 30 minutes of jokes you had kind of packaged, or did you write specifically for that special?
I wrote specifically for what was happening in pandemic.
How long did it take for you to write for that special? From when you decided I want to shoot this to shooting it?
Oh my God, we did not give enough time. Like, because this was like a weird day. My brother came in town because flights were cheap.
Yeah.
And we rode scooters to this coffee shop and we got a little high and we sat there and he was like, you know what? Let's just shoot a special. And I think we thought about that I think it was maybe August. And then we shot in October.
Really?
Like, I was thinking about things that I wanted to talk about in pandemic, and I was hosting an underground open mic during pandemic. So I was working on them, but it wasn't the time I would give myself now. Hell no.
I mean, but again,
no.
Give yourself more credit though, because that's like, that's like 2-month turnaround and stuff. And like knowing that you had that writing assignment and then to basically make a new set from scratch, right? And it may not have been exactly how you wanted it to, but like it's good enough that it's getting fucking spin, it's getting bought. Like that's a fucking big accomplishment.
Some of it was prior to pandemic, but like some of it wasn't because I didn't have like the time, and a lot of it was like real shit that had happened to me that I wasn't even sure if I was like ready to talk about.
Yeah.
Like in 2018, I got into a fight here in LA.
Yeah.
And it was bad. And I got arrested and I had to go through community service and I had to go through anger management and I had to pay a lot of court fees.
Yeah.
And I had to go to court and watch the tape of the fight over and over again. So I talked about that.
You don't like watching your own stand-up. How do I
watch your own fight?
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of learning experiences.
Look at that punch technique.
Through
terrible.
that and my party habit and a lot of, learning that I was possibly having a drinking problem and how I was changing that about myself and dating and all that kind of stuff. And then I really got into politics over pandemic. So it was, I think the strongest jokes that came out of that entire set that spins the most is my take on Trump. Yeah. Like those.
Finally.
This guy
I want to talk about that. I love talking about that shit. Okay, what is your thought on all that right now? I'm the same.
I still run that joke and it still fucking kills. I just did it in Chicago. I mean, honestly, I didn't vote for him, of course, but I feel as if he was the most fun. Like, that was the most fun we've ever had as a president in our entire history. Like, you didn't even need to write jokes for him. He was lit.
He was writing jokes.
He was writing jokes for us.
He was a joke. He was a walking joke.
But I mean, it was a fun experience. And I think, as a Black woman watching what was going on in those times. Like, it was just, I mean, he was tweeting at 2 a.m. Like, everyone's fucking stupid. Like, he was going, it was wild. It was wild times. So, I mean, it was more a take on what I saw and like how Melania looked and like the George Floyd stuff that was going on and how white people took over the protests and made them look completely different than what they were in 1960. Like, that was what was in my special. Like, but those did the best because I named them cool names too. So like on the album, it's called Presidential Pimpin'. Because I felt like he treated America like a pimp. He built us up and broke us down like a lot. Like, it was the same concept. So it's like a lot of stuff like that. But yeah, it did. We did that in 3 months. And it was, I mean, I was hosting a mic, so it helped. Yeah. So I was up every night, but I was going everywhere. And I had support. Like, a lot of the comics that were running outside shows was giving me time. Everybody knew I was working on that. And everyone was like, you're crazy. That, like, why would you do this now? Just wait till we get out. But everybody was like, you make it happen. I think I inspired, nobody wants to admit it, but I think I inspired half of LA comics to do their own special. Because after I did mine, everyone was like, you know what? I'm going to shoot a special. And I was like, you should. Like, Netflix ain't coming.
Yeah, no shit.
So yeah, pandemic was the shit for me. I don't know. I had a good time. I was outside.
Can't wait for
Mexico.
Can't wait for coronavirus round 2.
I've been waiting on it. Literally, when I see people coughing a lot, I'm like, yes,
give it.
Like, we're on our way back home.
You cough on that person, they cough on that person.
Yeah, it's the only way.
That's a new kind of cough. I've never heard that.
I loved it. The unemployment money was lit.
Yeah, that was fucking nice. That was the most bizarre. I always felt like I was like waiting for them to like take the check out of my account. I'm like, this is my money for real.
For real.
Yeah.
I was living good.
Yeah.
Living good, and like, you didn't have to be anywhere. Like, it was quiet. The streets were empty.
Yeah.
It was great.
I think it made like a lot of people like that didn't say that someone that was just not pursuing something artistic or doing something outside of like a regular 9-to-5 job, when everyone had that free time to kind of sit at home and be like, what the fuck do I want to do with my life?
Mhm.
Like everybody had that, like that thought of like, what am I doing with my life? What do I want to do coming out of this? And what was I doing? Was that beneficial to me? Is that what I want to do? Like, where do I go from here? And I think that was like the craziest question that so many people probably never thought of before. And they're like, well, I have money now that I don't have to do anything for.
Right.
Like, it's kind of like everybody got a taste of like what it must be like to be rich, where like you just get money every, other week.
And then you weren't spending it.
Yeah. And exactly. It was like, you're saving it, or you're like, enough to pay your bills. And then you're like, all right, well, now I still have some money left over. Like, what do I want to do? Like,
exactly.
and you had to really like come to terms with that. Like everybody did. And I think either you came out of it with a new kind of motivation, like, oh, okay, like this is what I want to do now. Or you kind of just like went back to the normal thing. But I think it planted that seed in so many people's brains all over the country, all over the world, of like, what am I doing?
That's why things are the way they are now. That's why a lot of people are like quitting their jobs or working from home.
Yeah, like that. Like,
where they don't want to take certain jobs because they're like, fuck that, I can make money doing my own thing versus going to a job like that doesn't pay much and I gotta like leave the house. I feel like it shook some shit up.
Yeah, I think it was there for as much negative and bad that it was. It definitely, there was some like good that came out of it.
For sure,
definitely.
Yeah,
but.
What did you like?
Yeah,
did you work during pandemic or?
I was fighting to not go back. I was trying not to. When the second the pandemic happened, I'm like, well, I'll never go back to that hotel job again. It was like just fucking like then like I slowly, as like I was kind of getting called back in, and I was like, I was trying to like tell my fucking like HR, I'm like, well, I don't want to go back because I can't get sick because I got a kid and shit, and like at the time I was living with my in-laws and they're like in their 80s and shit. So part of the reason why I was like kind of skeptical to jump into the comedy realm so much, because like I didn't know I didn't want to be the one that kills my fucking 80-year-old in-laws and shit, or my fucking kid gets sick. So I was like very reluctant to jump in and kind of press it too much, because that's like I had other things to worry about and stuff. But yeah, I was working like towards the end of like 2020. I went back to work and shit.
Wow, because you guys had great crowds.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean,
that was at the Weed Cellars.
Weed Cellars.
Weed Cellars was good crowds. And that one other spot you did
on Melrose.
Awesome.
Yeah, both those two places we were doing great there, and then like they were, those companies that like basically they were looking at us to be like Captain Save a Home. Like, I can't save your sinking business. They were floundering, and then we were renting the space from them, and then we'd sell it out. And they're like, well, if you charge everyone like $200, we'll make like $15. Like, I can't pay your mortgage off of like a weekly show.
$200, bro. We're not bringing in Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, we
just have one sale.
I think we were paying like
$1 million for that ticket. Like
all the millionaires.
$1 million.
Yeah.
So
you just have one ticket. It's gonna be $1 million a ticket.
That's crazy. Yeah. That place didn't make it.
They closed down. The Weed Cellars is sold off to something else and shit. But like
that was a really cool venue. They had the outside spot and then the inside spot. They had like two like spots that really could have like made it into something cool. And
I know that was a dope.
Such a bummer. And then they gave free weed and beer and like food, like
CBD drinks.
Yeah,
it was like cool. Just go there, just get lit up and just fucking watch comedy. It was like the best.
It was good.
And then also too, we were all coming from being stuck inside all week, so you have this like place where you can actually enjoy. That I think honestly was like re-sparked my love for comedy. Not that I was like falling out of it coming into the pandemic, but like myself too. I was like had a bunch of road work lined up for 2020. I was trying to shoot something by the end of that summer because I had kind of really honed in on my set, and then it just all went to shit. And then like, as you know, like bookers fucking like left their jobs or moved to other places. I'm like, so now I fucking lost all these leads. All that work's gone. And then, coming back into the, you get defeated and you're like, and then also too, Chappelle came out with his specials. I'm like, fuck, I never fucking shot a special. So I'm all in my head about like, having this existential crisis about like, not doing the shit that I wanted to do when I had the time to. I should have taken a page out of your book and done the shit.
I was like, listen, my brother was like, just do it. I had a lot of people just was like, just do it.
Yeah.
And like, it worked. I mean, I still to this day, I'd be like, why? It must have just been something in the universe, because even before it came out, people had heard about it. And maybe I'll say this too, working in social media helped me learn how to market like a motherfucker. I'm a beast at a brand. I promoted the shit out of it to the point where other like Austin, Texas became really popular during pandemic.
Yeah.
And so they saw some of my posts and they invited me. They like got me hotel rooms to come in to do shows there to promote the release. San Diego did it for me. Like it was like everybody was seeing it, and it was just all based off of my social media blast. And I think that like helped. And like I forget his name, but we shot a lot of stuff. He shot my Wonder Woman stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen those pictures I have with the drunk Wonder Woman. Yeah. So like I came up with so many weird concepts of shooting that like people were like, what is this? Yeah. Like, why do it? Like, people were like, I need to, like, I recreated Little Kim's album in one of my pictures except she had on a face mask for pandemic. Like, it was a really raunchy photo, but I wore a face mask. Like, I had a lot of weird stuff. But I mean, I think that's what helped because, I mean, a lot of comics wanted to put out their specials, but I think everybody had that fear of like,
well, there was also a point in time when I was like, fuck, are we ever actually going to get back to a format of actually having like live like shows again? Because I
mean, there were.
Yeah, but there was just, I don't know. There was like in the early stages of it when we're just like, super locked down in lines at grocery stores. I'm like, it was, I was looking real dire because like, I don't know, there's just a bunch of weird like cryptic things during the pandemic, especially early on. Like there was like that viral like lady talked about like, if it gets in your throat and it goes down, like all this shit.
That was crazy.
Remember that? You heard that? Okay. Yes. Because fucking no one else knows.
Everyone was like, fuck. You were holding your cough in and like you would walk past people and not breathe.
I still do that when I walk past
dude, it's just like all that shit where I'm like, oh my God, we're never going to go and do like live concerts again or stand up again and shit. And then, it was funny how quick we kind of came back around to it and stuff because I think I was doing shows again before I went back to work. Yeah. And that's really when I was like, I was making more money in stand-up during the pandemic than ever.
Did you do any Zoom shows?
Yeah.
The money was banging to sit with no pants on and turn up.
See, now, you did the right ones. I did some fucking like shit Zoom shows, and I was like, oh, this isn't it. This is not it at all.
I don't know. It was people coming up with like really cool ideas. But I mean, you were getting virtual claps and emojis.
Could you see everybody? Like,
you can see them in the boxes, but you can't really hear anyone because you have to put everybody on mute.
Oh my God. Talk about comedy being hard enough as it is. Throw that on it. That's gotta be so weird.
I used to get super drunk. I would use a TV remote.
I guess that's probably the best.
As my mic. And I would just turn up and like I could just see their faces laughing in the boxes, but you couldn't hear them.
That's funny.
And then people would donate money and we would get paid crazy.
Yeah, you got all the right gigs. I was not doing that. I had like some depressing ass shit. Yeah, like I did some bad Zoom shows enough that like I did I think 2 and I was like, nah, this ain't it. And then it was right when I was starting like the outdoor series shows that we were doing. So I was like, yeah, fuck that. I'll fucking stay in this lane because this is where it's at. We were making good money. We were paying comics and we were also rolling our money into our production stuff. So a lot of like the stuff that we have at the studio, because this is how I linked up with Mark.
Okay. Yeah, I met Mark through you guys.
Yeah. So a lot of that stuff we kind of rolled into the new venue here and like the.
How's that? I missed it, but I was like.
We're doing another one on the 20th. So.
Okay. I gotta come through.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I got lucky. I did a roast show on Zoom. Like we won prizes and then there was like second and third rounds where people would be like, she's back, everybody, and now she's going against this person from New York. And it was like mad comics that were big in New York that would face off with me. I did joke charades. We did dating shows for comics. It was everyone would dress up as characters and not actually be themselves. It's like they're like, we was turning up.
That's funny. Yeah.
We had a good time. Like, and I would be like literally in Atlanta, or one time I was in Mexico and I did a show here with like a bunch of New York comics.
Wait, you went to Mexico during the pandemic?
I was outside. I didn't get it the whole time. I'm telling you. I went outside. Yeah,
I went to Mexico. Wait, we went to Mexico during the pandemic too.
We did.
Yeah. I went to Tulum in.
That's where we went.
Tulum also.
Too.
Yeah. It was lit.
You stay. Where did we stay? The Grand Serenas. Did you stay there?
It was a good time. Yeah, it was good times. I mean, pandemic was fun. I had a blast. And then like I think probably like 2021 after I did all that stuff in 2020, mid 2021. When I got outside in 2021, that was the year. I was like, that was a year. Supernova was a big deal. That show, I was on that. And then like I met so many people in New York from Zoom shows. Like when I went to New York recently, it was like I'd never met half these people in real life, but they were like, I remember you from the Zoom thing. So like I was like, there was a moment. I had nothing to do. It was nothing else to do. Like, yeah.
I just like envision like on a Zoom comedy thing, you just like roasting like, all right, you fucking guy with the glasses, and just like making fun of like each person, just go through the boxes and just fucking talk shit to everybody. And be like, all right, I'm out.
Production company that set it up, and the way they did it was so legit. They had backgrounds for us, and it was only, and they would size up comics from every city. They would be, I went against people from New York, Texas, Iowa. So it would just be boxes would be the audience, but it would only be 2 comics that would face off.
Okay.
And they would give us topics like write a nursery rhyme about Red Riding Hood or something.
Oh my
and
God.
And if you were a banging ass writer,
Yeah.
you would like, and that was how you would go against each other.
Yeah.
And in the end, you would do, I think I lost to Dave Getzoff. He kicked,
no way.
that is our like story of how we became
the Chicago
ate
guy.
my ass up. It was
Yeah.
nuts. Like I was winning, and then it was like it was me and him for like the finals.
That's funny.
He did a lot of research.
He did,
Yeah.
He did a lot of research. He was like, "You can't spell." It was hilarious, but it was fun. Yeah, that's my guy.
I love Dave. Yeah, good dude.
That's my guy. Yeah, but it was fun.
He just shot some for Comedy Dynamics too. Like a month ago or so.
Samson Crouppen.
Yeah,
is where I shot my special. I shot it at his house.
Okay,
and that's how that relationship came for him to start doing Comedy Dynamics, actually.
No shit.
Yeah. He was like, that after you did what you did, I'm like, I could just use my house and just shoot a bunch of specials. And I was like, Samson, this is the wave. And then like they end up talking and making a deal with him. So he turned his podcast, Samson's World, into a Comedy Dynamics thing where he does like a late night talk show thing. And then he does comics.
Yeah.
And they still do it. I think he's moving to his like 3rd season.
You fucking changing people's lives.
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm getting no credit. No, Samson always be like, you inspired me to do it because I was like, she used my backyard and I didn't even do it for me. So
that's funny.
Yeah. But
what was the first sketch you shot? Was it the Moesha shit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I started those back in 2015. And it was because this dude I dated sucked. Like he used to inspire me to be like, I hate him so much.
That's hilarious.
And then I just was like, this reminds me of this. But the thing that sucked about that for me was I was doing that for probably 5 years and that never went viral. And people to this day remember that I did that, but I'm like, it never went viral. The only thing that went viral for me was like stuff that was none of the characters that I do. Like even the guy character that I did that hangs out in front of the corner store, that one never even blew up either. Like it took off maybe later on TikTok.
Was that the same character I saw on your Instagram? It was like, you had like a beard.
Yeah.
And that guy?
Yeah.
That's the one where you're like, it was like, I think the bit was, it was like I want to thank everybody for, it was like,
that one went viral. Saying the prayer before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But those characters never blew up. Like I stopped doing Moesha because people would steal the idea from me and they would blow up and I'd be like, okay, I guess nobody wants me to do it. They prefer it to be Keke Palmer or whoever else. But a lot of people ask me now, like, are you going to bring it back? And I'm like, every time I bring it back, it never gets any attention. Like, so I don't know. But yeah, that was probably maybe my first one. I had been doing social media since Vine though. Okay. Like I was pretty popular on Vine. And then
I think I tried going on there once. We had a friend of ours that was kind of getting some traction on there. And then like right when it like kind of started to go for him, it was like, all right, nobody's on Vine anymore.
Yeah,
like,
Instagram came.
It was like MySpace. If you never did any of that shit, I remember spending so many hours like trying to get my band views and like coding and learning, like basically doing all the shit while I was working. Like
I
at
do
my
not
office
remember
job.
MySpace.
Really?
No.
Oh.
Like I don't think I like.
We're old.
Yeah.
Like I don't. When people bring that up, I'm always like, I don't know. I don't remember like.
That just dates us. I just, we're
I'm
at
not that
age
young,
now
but
where
I don't remember.
I
don't remember MySpace like that.
Yeah, that was like the jam.
MySpace came out though when like we had office jobs though. Like
that was out
like,
before that. It was
when
before
what year was that?
Probably like
2006. Well, I know I think I was on MySpace like 2007. I think when I got on there. It was right. Facebook was I think starting to be for everyone that wasn't in college or something.
Right. I remember Facebook more.
Yeah.
Because I went to Illinois State for a little while. Yeah. And you had to go to school to have it.
Exactly.
MySpace was before
Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
MySpace was the one that was basically like it was basically a fucking website, right?
Yeah, it's like a page. You have to make like a
but
wall.
you could the cool thing about
music embedded on your fucking
homepage. Your top 10. So you could like pick and choose who you wanted to be showcased. Like, on Facebook, it'll say like people you may know, or like it'll say like, it'll just put randomly like friends of yours in like a little box or whatever, you could pick. So if you're like interested in a girl or whatever, you're trying to date or whatever, they could be like, oh damn, she moved me to like people like my top 5 people.
I remember Black Planet.
We're white. Yeah.
I think that was like the Black MySpace. Maybe that's what I remember. I remember this thing called Black Planet the most. I don't know.
It's probably
when I was in college.
It's like a MySpace user that was like made his whole thing Black Planet. You could fuck with that. That was the coolest thing about that. You could make it so personal.
Yeah, you could definitely.
You could like change stuff around, like move buttons, like everything was like so you can manipulate it so much. Where like Facebook is like you have a couple options of backgrounds and pictures.
Facebook
but
is like the iPhone of like the two social media ones. Because
I never go to Facebook. I feel like it's a scary place.
I gotta delete my fucking Facebook.
It's just a place where like old people go now.
Yeah. I know it's dangerous.
That's really it.
And but then like that's where everyone says they sell tickets
on Facebook.
I always hear that from comics. I was like, that's the best place, like Facebook.
I mean, I don't know.
Maybe from the people's parents that are like buying the tickets for the kids that are on Instagram.
I don't know.
Well, I do think it's probably less people trying to promote themselves on Facebook than people, because I feel like Instagram, at least my feed is like just a shit ton of other comics. You know what I mean? I have to really scroll through to see regular people and shit. It's just everyone's trying to sell me some shit. Everybody that pops up is fucking trying to like, post clips, fucking promote shows, all that shit.
Yeah. I feel like TikTok is moving faster. Yeah. To where I feel like that seemed to be more of a space where
I'm still not on TikTok, and that's about the opposite.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, okay, I'm on this, but like I mean, I haven't like posted any stand-up shit on there, like just.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I feel like
you're fucking like professional social media queen. And
shit. Like, I'm getting better at the stand-up stuff. I don't always post that. I'm learning from like other comics that is where it's at, and now it's like, do you even need a set? Every comic is just like, hey, you tell me about your job. Like it's crowd work that everybody seems like they're kind of blowing up off of.
I get that in the sense of like you don't want to burn your act for like the sake of putting content out and stuff. But I kind of feel like if you do like a show and you do like a minute of topical shit and then you just chop that into your like.
I'm gonna start doing that. I feel like all those comics are on the road and are killing.
Yeah,
and that's smart that you're saying that because at first I was like, why are they doing crowd work so much? You burn your set out because after a while you can't. You're gonna get all the clips and then they're gonna know already. But
speaking of topical shit, what's everyone's thought on the brawl that happened with the boat?
That shit was wild.
Yeah,
that shit's crazy. The swimming, the Aquaman guy.
In that moment when I saw that, I was like, white people beware. Like they say we don't swim. When I saw that man swim that fast and pull his body up.
Pulling yourself out of the water, like that. But fully clothed too. It's tough to do with just board shorts on, but like that dude had full on pants on. He lost a shoe. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of shit. Like,
I was like, he was ready to turn up, and he was fighting after that. I'm like, how old is he? He has to be really young. It was sad. I think at first when I saw it, I was just like, look at us. Oh my god!
I didn't even understand how that happened though. What the fuck happened?
I just was like there's like a for before that even happened, it was an hour of that security guard trying to get them the fuck out of there, and it was I looked at it as like, all right, trying to explain white privilege to white people is extremely hard, and that was like an example of that where it was like. So much to the point that it was an hour of them arguing with someone that had authority in that area and them doing that. If it was the other way around, like it does it like that shit would not. It's just so bullshit. So when I saw that, I was like, beat those white people. Like,
it was crazy.
Like they're being assholes. The white people were being assholes.
They were drunk.
They had no right. Yeah, they had no.
They
right
were
to
wasted.
Do it. And they you could just see I don't know. I was embarrassed as a white person watching that for
hey man, ain't the first time, ain't the last time you'd be embarrassed.
It's true, definitely not.
It was. They were definitely wasted because the way I'm sure you saw because they take the video down a lot. They don't like to keep it online.
Yeah,
but
there's like 1,000 clips and viewpoints from a million cameras.
The way he's like basically the boat's blowing the horn, he's constantly telling him to move, and then like this guy just rushes him. It was weird.
Yeah,
it was like, what did he drink? Like he just rushed.
But that's him thinking like nothing's gonna happen to me. Nothing. I'm not gonna get in trouble for this. I can do what I want. It's like that bullshit stuff.
And that went bad. It went
real bad, and it was just like. I don't know.
I mean, the chair situation was like, oh no.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, dang, right? When I saw that, I was like, dang. And when they hit the lady over the head, I was like, I hope they knock sense into her. This was a bad idea. It was wild. I thought it was wild. And I mean, you know, everybody's like, oh, we're so proud. But at the same time, I'm like, look at us. Like, we look a mess in this country. We are
this country is
a mess.
Like turning into like Florida. Like
the
country
that's how it looks.
It's like we look like as a country like Florida. But, you know, so much of that is because of the division of Donald Trump. Like he has divided the country and made.
Well, again, that's the thing too, is just amplifying that kind of like, you know, white privilege, like almost like entitlement, where it's just like, I can do anything. Like, look who our fucking boss is, this fucking clown, and it basically fucking separated us and made the fucking like this whole spectacle look like a fucking like a circus show from the outsider's perspective. The problem with like the U.S. is like we are like a tourist society, right? Like LA, moreover, like, but people aren't fucking like really coming here that much anymore because like you see kids like coming from like there's a dude down at like on Santa Monica and La Cienega right over WeHo over here. Got mugged from his Rolex, like all his shit jacked because like it's not safe to be a tourist in even this area anymore.
Not anymore, no. My Citizens app is constantly going
for real.
off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
it's like, dude, if we don't fucking like correct that shit, like the biggest part that like, you know, drives this city is tourism is gonna fucking not be there. Like, it's all service shit. You know what I mean? Like, I work
also, the economy is really crappy right now and everything's really expensive. Like, I don't know if you've been seeing online, there's people that like run into stores now. You just bust open stuff and they're like calmly putting things in back. Like
that just happened at like a Gucci store or something where
they're doing it everywhere.
That's been definitely a thing. Like I've witnessed it when I was down in Hollywood. I was in a CVS but it was like the slowest like stealing of goods that I've ever seen. And like all the staff there knew the guy. That he just walks in and he like grabs some shit off the shelf and then they're like, put it back, Frank. And he's like, no. He's like, you guys can't do anything to me. And he just like walked out all slow, and the security guard's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we living in some scary times.
It is weird. It's bizarre.
It's very bizarre. I live in like West Hollywood, over not too far from Hollywood, like right by the boulevard, and like it's certain times of the night, like I can't be out there.
It's for sure not.
You know, it's wild, and I don't have a car, so like I'm always like shopping during the day. You got to do everything before the night falls.
Being like a woman in this city's got to be fucking scary, just because like amount of crazy ass shit. Like even before the pandemic, because like he and I used to be roommates and shit, and we lived by Runyon, like La Brea and Hollywood area and shit, right? And there would be some of like the riffraff from Hollywood would kind of walk its way over there and shit, but for the most part we're in a nice little tight pocket. But then like as it got closer to the pandemic, it just started to kind of pour over. And then it just fucking blew up after like the pandemic, where there's like all those parks over there and shit. Like I can never live over there with my kid because like there's nothing there. You can't go to the park. Like
there's just tents everywhere.
There's just all the debris and fucking like just broken bottles and needles and shit. Like, I'm not chasing my kid around on some fucking debris like that.
I mean, I think a lot of cities go through that. Like, you know, Los Angeles is going through right now. San Francisco is going through right now. New York, Times Square went through that back in like the 70s, where like Times Square was just brothels, strip clubs, and that was it. Like you couldn't walk in Times Square. Like it was literally just like dealing drugs, getting prostitutes, going to strip clubs. And that's all it was. It was dominated by the sex trafficking, hookers, drugs, all that stuff. Like you would get like shot, robbed, killed, like if you went there. And then once they finally put a stop to everything and got rid of all of like the strip clubs and these like nudie bars and whatnot, they commercialized it. Now it's like a place where like everyone goes and there's Mickey Mouse there and all this shit. They like, you know, they made it like a thing. And
M&M store.
Yeah. I think all the cities kind of go through that and they kind of ebb and flow. And I think we're in that one of those times now where it's like, all right.
I've seen that, dude, from the time that I moved out to Hollywood like 20 years ago. It was like on the up. And then it's just fucking like, because like they redid the Hollywood and Highland Center like right when I first moved out here. The Grove was just built when I first moved out here and shit.
When did you get here?
2003 originally.
Oh, you've been here a while. Yeah.
Okay. And then I had that 1 year sentence back to Wisconsin, then came back out here in 2007, and just it's been like. Then I think when you were living out here.
2003. Wow. Yeah, you've seen it.
Yeah, I know. I've spent like this would be my 20th anniversary, September 3rd.
Oh, okay. So you know LA, you know the game.
Yeah.
You ready, baby. You out here ready.
Watch out. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, past 10 years, I think it's when it really clicks, at least for me. I feel like I understood the business probably after my 10th year.
Yeah.
Like in my 11th, I'm like, this place is like for sure smoke and mirrors. Like,
oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know that when you first get here. I feel like a lot has changed with the way I see LA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
now.
for sure. You can't help but, especially when you live here, you're like, oh, okay, like that's bullshit. That's not, or like, these are, you know.
There's always that naivete when you're like, I got an audition. Well, probably book that gig and shit. And you're like telling your family, and then
probably
like,
put my 2 weeks in.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, right. I used to have that mentality. Like literally with doing this show, I was surprised at myself because I was like, I'm not quitting my job. Like I literally told my manager, I was like, look, I'm gonna do both of my jobs while I'm doing the show. So we're gonna need to like talk to production and figure out how we're gonna work around this. And like my content job was remote. So I'd be in my trailer, like literally on calls and like doing meetings, and they would be like, you got 5 minutes, and I'd be like, all right guys, get off that call, go shoot the show. And then at night I was working at this restaurant. I was a hostess. So I was doing all of that while doing the show because I was just like, the experiences I've had in LA, you get geeked up and then that's just canceled tomorrow. Like
but that I think is like, you know, practice like you play, right? So you keep that really busy schedule and it keeps you fucking like really polished and like in tune as far as like the hustle, because it's not just having several like, you know, streams of income that are like in like the, I guess I don't want to say common sector, but like the non-industry sector, but like you fill those things. You have your influencer stuff and like the product sponsorship.
I do.
So I can't think of the name.
UGC is new. A lot of people don't know what that is, but it's going to be a banging industry. I'm starting my own business in that actually. I just finished my portfolio.
UGC?
User generated content. That is becoming a major thing now in the social media world. A lot of people are making a lot of money in that world. So I'm moving into that on my own. Trying to book clients by myself.
Can't wait to have you back on here next year and you're like, I fucking killed the UGC fucking.
So what is user generated content? Like how is it different from YouTube or like Instagram?
No, user generated content is basically, instead of paying money for an influencer, right? Like a company would be like, oh, let's pay Kim Kardashian to promote our lip gloss. They would pay her to like just post it on her page. Whereas user-generated content creators do not have to have any followers. We are people that know how to create a commercial for a product and sell it to the product, since they don't have time to make products for their TikTok. So if you haven't noticed, if you're on TikTok, now you'll notice there are regular girls selling face wash and lip gloss and soap or food or Instacart. It's regular people that are like shooting them getting the food, them talking about it, them putting it in their fridge, them making all this content, and then they sell it to the companies and the companies purchase it so they don't have to do it themselves.
It's interesting. So you're basically casting yourself, you're taking the casting network out of it, right?
Because we're moving into that area where a lot of companies don't want to spend the money for an actual live commercial. They're like, we can pay regular people to make 15 to 30-second videos on TikTok, where the most of the majority of selling is to make content for us. I've done like makeup companies send me stuff all the time, or like my price list is, okay, I'll do 2 videos for you for $300. Or if you want a package deal, it's like, it gets up to like $1,000, where I'll do like 5 to 6 different shots of like stuff, and like I create commercials for them. And they basically put them on their Instagram reels and their TikToks, and they can't use the same UGC creators all the time.
Can you like tag yourself in the commercial for their?
That's an extra cost if they want to use me in it. Like if they're like for example, I did a skincare line where it was like a whole process of it to show women that like it actually works. Like this cleared up acne and it cleared up spots, and you do a whole setting. So I create and edit a video where it's like, this is me with the acne, this is me without it, this is how many days a week I do it, this is what my face looks like now. And then it's like I have product placement, I take photos of it, like you have to buy certain stuff and different cameras and lighting to do it, and then they buy that, and then they use different girls to do it, and so you can keep doing that. And then that's where the content is going now.
So with you starting your own company, you trying to also bring other people in under your wing? Like
eventually, yes.
Okay.
I was doing social media management, but I feel like that's getting flooded. A lot of people are getting into that, but UGC, I mean, there. If you look it up on YouTube, it's people making like 6 figures just doing UGC, and it's just you can have a company where
you want to start UGC in it.
I mean, you start. I build my portfolio with stuff that was already in my house.
Yeah,
like I did Elf Cosmetics and skincare lines and different seltzer water drinks that I like and different wines and like.
So do you reach out to the whatever the product is, say like this water bottle, like would you reach out to them and say, hey, I can do like 6 commercials for TikTok and like show them like the little 6 commercials that you did for that water bottle and be like, would you guys pay me for this now? Like, is that kind of is it that way, or is it like, cause are you going to the company to say, hey, I can do this for you? And then they're going back like, okay, yeah, we'll pay you $1,000 to do 6 videos, talking about this water bottle and how you use it and how it's great, it doesn't break and all this other shit. And like how does that work?
I started with creating a UGC for companies that I wanted to work with, kind of like on the free piece. Like I would make a TikTok on my own with a really cool edit, and I would tag them in, have a separate Instagram page for my entire UGC world.
Okay.
And then I like that page, I would tag them in that, and they usually see it and they're like, oh, dope. And then after that, you ask them like, hey, how do I pitch to the company to like, work with you? And they'll give you an email. And then I've created a very personal pitch email that says who I am, what I do, how I generate sales, and so on and so forth.
Gotcha.
And then they read that and then they decide, and then you go into negotiation.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's cool. That's a really interesting way to like,
I'm trying. That's the world that I'm trying to have outside of. Yeah, like I mean, it's fun.
Wheels turning.
Thinking over here.
I mean, it's fun. I mean, I go to Home Depot and I buy like tile, like to create sets, and I have lights where I can shoot. I mean, I'll show you some stuff when we're done, like what I've done and how I've created them, and like I don't know. I'm really trying to get into that world because I feel like for me, I want to stay as an entertainer and I want to work for myself wherever.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to work for a company anymore where I'm like, I have to go to Clover City and clock in.
Yeah,
I'd rather be in Chicago and be like, I'm shooting for this brand, this brand, this brand. I shoot it, send them what they need, keep it pushing.
Yeah.
And then I run this social media page from wherever I'm at. And then I can still be an actor in a comic. That's what I'm hoping for in the end. By the end of the year, that's what I want.
I have no doubt you'll do that.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. Fingers crossed. But it's a lot of research. I did a lot of YouTube research and following girls on TikToks and learning from other people. And a lot of it is a younger generation. They're making bank. A lot of these girls are making $10,000. They're like, this is how I made $10,000 in 3 months. You're like, what, bitch? Put me on.
YouTube University.
So I'm just learning from them. And like, it's a thing, apparently. Cause like I'll be on TikTok now and I'm like, oh shit, ain't nobody doing commercials. And if you have a modelly type look, they're gonna eat your ass up. Like I'll do, and I call mine user generated content with jokes.
Yeah.
So my voiceovers are humorous.
Yeah.
And that's different
It's
from
like
the other girls.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about a hair product that I'm using, but I'm gonna do it in the personality of a comic.
That's cool.
Yeah. Smart. Use all your assets.
You better out here in these streets.
You have to. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for being
me.
our first woman on the show.
What?
Yeah.
I'm out here like Michelle Obama. First lady up in here.
Exactly.
Okay.
The first lady of the podcast.
The first lady of the podcast. Giving
for real.
Michelle Obama vibes.
Yeah. You want to plug anything? Your handles, all that good stuff?
All my handles are Fatimah Taliah on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all of that. I have my own show coming back to the Improv called Cozy Energy, inspired by Beyonce. Check me out on something. I can't tell you what, but I'm somewhere.
Do you know when the date is for your improv
my first show is September 26th.
Okay, this will air before that, so
get
your tickets.
September 26th. Check it out.
Thank you for being on the show, First Lady. I'm Tony Klein at Tony Klein Comedian. I'm
Eric Rustler. You can find me on Eric Rustler on Instagram. You can find all the apparel at the Eric and Tony Show. You can go to ericandtonyshow.com. We got some t-shirts, some mugs, some beer mugs, unisex shirts.
Nice. I need to get some merch.
Also, check out clips, post clips every single day I think we're up to like 300 clips right now. So they're always updated. You can watch the full podcast on YouTube and on Spotify. We drop everything on Monday for the full episodes. So you can keep posted with that. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I don't know what I'm looking over there.
I know, right? I was looking at y'all and I was like, this is my camera.
So, your own camera.
But thanks again for hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah,
this is a good combo.
It was a pleasure. So, all right, peace. We're out.
Clear.